You're listening to Blue Collar CEO, the podcast that's all about helping you build a better, more profitable, and more sustainable home service business. Each week, we'll cover a different topic that will help enable your company to move forward to success. And here's your host, Ryan Redding.
What is up, Blue Collar CEOs? It's Ryan. It is awesome to be with you today. I am getting to introduce you to a former rock and roller who once had dreams of becoming the next frontman for Van Halen. I kid you not. Rusty Cochran translated his passion for guitars and music into a passion for his customers and employees. Today, Rusty is the frontman for We Care Plumbing, Heating and Air. It is one of the most successful HVAC and plumbing businesses in the United States. We Care began with really humble roots, operated in Rusty's living room, and under his leadership, We Care has grown to over 200 employees. In 2016, they moved into a new state-of-the-art 30,000 square foot office in Southern California. They're always growing. They're always expanding. We're going to be talking a lot about the history of their success, but also his focus on people, partnering with private equity to help leverage people better. There's a lot of things that we talk about in this conversation. I'm going to shut up and let's get Rusty on. Rusty, I am so glad that we're able to finally get you on the show because I know you're insanely busy. I feel like I see your name and your business all over the place. But I guess first, before we hop in, maybe for those who don't yet know who you are, let's just start there. Rusty, who are you? What do you do?
So I'm Rusty Cochran, president of We Care Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning in Southern California, and really just the home services covering the plumbing, heating, and air side of the business. We've been in business for 23 years now and started out with me in the field doing the sales, the service, the install, everything just by myself. And then my wife inside the office running the, taking the phone calls and doing the books. And now we have roughly close to 200 employees and just been fun building it. Not always fun, but for the most part, it's fun.
Kudos for going into business with your wife, also part of the business, because that is its own unique ball of complications that a lot of people struggle with. But to go from startup to 200 employees usually requires like a lot of you having to learn new skills along the way. Would you say that like there are different milestones where when you had 10 employees, when you had 50 employees, or when you had 100, like that these certain numbers where you realize that you needed different sorts of leadership skills that you didn't yet have at that point in time?
I mean, absolutely. I'll back up to the first part. So working with the spouse is very difficult. And for 23 years, she's been in and out of the business for probably, I'm going to guess, she'll probably kill me, but I'd say she's been in the business for like 6 of those years. In the beginning, it was definitely her and I starting it. But then you do run into the challenges and you go back and have dinner at home or whatever, you're still talking about work. You can never separate it because it's on her mind. She wants to tell me about her day. And I'm a D on the disc profile or a color red. So it's like, just get to the point. What's up? And, she wants to tell me about how this person did that. And, the challenges that you have with, internal employees. You can have terrible customers, but it's your employees that actually make it harder, especially as you scale. So as far as, that part, it's tough. But yes, you definitely hit milestones, and we did. I mean, you actually, if you're running your business properly, you shouldn't, but we hit every milestone you can. So I can teach a lot on what not to do in a business. I mean, that's probably my specialty, just because we hit so many of those, targets, that we shouldn't have. But, as you're scaling your business, your profit should follow right with it too. So you shouldn't grow and then lose your profit, but that's what happened. And that's what happens a lot of times in business. Like, no, we'll just cover it with more revenue. And that doesn't take place. You just lose more money. So we definitely hit some, when we hit the target of really about the 17 million mark. I mean, you hit it before that, like at 5 million's a mark, 10 million's a mark, but it was all manageable in a sense. Well, once we got to like the 17, then the wheels came off because you got to have your managers. You have to have operations and different things, and those those people have to learn with us. They got to grow with us as I'm growing. I got to surround myself with people smarter than me. That's how we're going to be successful. Our employees are our number one asset. So the only way they can do that is if I'm the smartest person in the room, we're in big trouble. So you got to have multiple people that are, smarter than me, that are specialists in what they do. Like my controller has to be really strong. My operations team or general manager has to be very strong in order to not just implement, but execute, what our goals are, what we're going to be hitting. So, we had to redo a rethinking when we hit the 17 million mark. And then we hit it again because we were really shooting for the 30 million mark. And we got to 29 and change. We just missed it. Talk about a disappointment, but it was still like a good growth year. But then from that point, for about 3 or 4 years, we went backwards and we went all the way back down to 23 million. And then now we've retooled, got some training, got some different people. And then, now we've grown it, again. So, it's and surpassed that mark. And then now we continue to grow. We want to, it's fun. It's exciting. For me, my personality is I love the kill, when the sales are coming in, that type of thing, that's my strength. The back end, as far as like counting the beans and stuff, that's not my strength, but you got to know and love your numbers. And, I love the front end numbers. Like, oh yeah, we just got another sale. Like, how do we get more? How do we do that?
Yeah. Cause it's exciting.
It is exciting, but then your people got to also, have that same excitement, but not everybody's going to be on the same page as that because that's not in their wheelhouse. So it's been a good ride, and we want to continue to, ultimately get to 100 million now. You set your sights on something, and it's like, okay, we got that. Now let's go for 100, and then keep going past that. So like, it's not. I don't want to stop. I'm still older, but not old. So I'm still.
I totally get it. Yeah, and it's interesting. I even like how you describe, like, you hit all these different. I don't even know if you called them
plateaus.
Roadblocks, but plateaus or ceilings. And like, we've had like EOS, so Entrepreneurial Operating System implementers, on our show before, and they'll talk about like there's essentially 3 different types. Yeah, absolutely, out of traction. Like 3 different types of plateaus. There's like an individual plateau, like where a single person cannot pass to whatever that plateau is. Or you can have like department level plateaus where an entire department can't get past whatever is blocking them. And then finally you have like company level plateaus, so the whole company is like hitting that same ceiling. And it's interesting because you made a comment and you said it and then just kept going about employees is what makes it harder as you scale. What did you mean by that? Do you remember?
Well, they're the ones that help me get to where I'm at, you know what I mean? And they're the ones that will continue to get to me where I'm going. But you can't always do what you've always done, or you always get what you've always got. So what we've got to, that's just a quote from someone, I don't know who, but anyway, so we have to, they have to grow with us, but there's always constantly something going on within the business from somebody, it could be an unfortunate circumstance, like an illness or, like a cancer or something that takes over, that's devastating. It could be just, they're having a bad day or week. And then now all of a sudden that clowning around turns into now an HR thing, where before they were just as guilty as anybody else. So we have to run it, like a business, a real business, like a corporate type business, even though we are in the construction side of things. We don't do new construction, but we still are, we're doing service model, going into people's homes and dealing with homeowners. But at the same time, we're still that blue collar business type of thing, but we have to run it like a white collar business and be, I don't mean like Wolf of Wall Street white collar business, but, like but HR, G-rated.
Well, yeah. And the trick is that it's still business, right? So the thing still has to, a business is a machine that makes profit. And so you need button down HR, like, cause it's going to keep you protected from risk. It's going to keep your employees happy, like all those things going. And for a lot of people, you're right. It feels like, well, that's really corporate or really bureaucratic. But in reality, those things are there because they make the machine run better. They make it make money easier without all the stress and drama and complications that can be snuffed out. What's interesting as you've grown, like obviously it's clear that you've put a lot of focus on people and like you said, the people who are the ones who got you there, people are going to be getting to you to where you're going, to that 100 million and more. A big part of your focus, especially lately, has been like including PE and private equity into that process. And before I hit record, you're talking about you've recently started a partnership with a PE, and the primary driver for you was their focus on people. So I guess for those who weren't around the conversation before, well, no one was around the conversation before I hit record. Say more about that. Like, what was your experience? Like, what drove you to like consider PE? Why did the focus on people become an important part for you, and how has that been moving forward?
Well, I've always cared for the people. That's always been a huge part of who I am. Like it's exciting to help somebody and they buy their first home or they buy their car, whatever that is. It's, like you set up a dream board, for instance, you can cut out a picture. Like I'll just use an example of one of our call center reps. This goes back several years ago, but she wanted this BMW car. And I'm like, we'll cut it out. Like, let's, get a magazine, cut that car out, and we're going to tape it to your board or tack it to your board in front of you. And you're going to look at that car and we're going to get you that car. And anyway, so she came back, and I don't know the exact amounts, but I mean, I'll just work with me here. But it was just say the payment was $400 a month. Well, we do $10 for every maintenance agreement that you sell to a customer that she could get on top of her hourly rate. So I'm like, okay, so your payment's $400. If you sold 40 maintenance agreements a month, could you sell 40 first off, and then you would get that car? And she's like, oh yeah, that's easy. So, I mean, it wouldn't change anything that she's already doing. And the exact picture she cut out was the exact color of that car that she got, and she was able to make the payments by just selling the maintenance agreements, at $10. And so it wasn't going into any of the income that she was already making. This was just above and beyond. Now she has to maintain that because you can't just hit it the first month and then, I got the car. And then now I'm broke, so, but she was able to get it, insure it, put fuel in it and everything else. And, that was one example. Another one was a couple of guys this last year that were technicians that bought their first home, and they were excited about it. And they came to me to thank me. And it's like, don't thank me. You did it. I give the same tools to everybody in this company. The difference is most of the people won't utilize these tools to what you did. They did it. I mean, all it is here it is. Just go with this process and you'll be successful. And they actually did it. One of them came back it was just a short few months later and came back and said, hey, thank you. I just bought a brand new, Trail Boss Silverado pickup truck. And thank you. I'm like, just like the house, I didn't do it. You did it. Like you're doing this. And if I can make those people, successful, whatever success is defined in their world, then, I mean, that's the most rewarding thing for me is it's like seeing them grow. So, as far as the people, that's why it is so important to me is their growth. Because, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, their success is my success as well. So the company's success, we all win together. By doing so, you get, we can pay more, we can get better benefits. We got to, as we continue to grow and scale, we can keep giving back too. If you're saving money because you're buying, like right now you can't do it because of inflation, but if you're buying it in bulk, you get a better price from the vendors because we're buying so much. So that can reduce those costs, and we can share that with the employees to do it. So you mentioned about the private equity part, and I wasn't looking to sell. I'm sure that a lot of the listeners on this get bombarded by either phone calls or emails, or even in the snail mail, they get, interested. A lot of PE firms are out there fishing for, to get somebody in the door. Well, I wasn't even looking for it. I just had a friend of mine that owns a heating and air conditioning company in the Phoenix market that said, hey, I went out to this company. They're in the Utah market. And he goes, it's just an incredible company. And he goes, I haven't seen anything like it. And I know a lot of the big players across the United States, from whether it be from manufacturers that we've got to meet at, dealer meetings or award banquets or networking groups, like associations that we belong to. So, I mean, through these years, I've got to meet a whole lot of people that are very successful companies. Some of these things are, now over $1 billion that are in these companies that are partnered with private equity. They're doing this. So anyway, I went out to this company. It's called Any Hour. And They do electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. And as I was going through their business, and they've got, I don't know exactly, but call it 500 employees, and you can't fake culture when you're there for a couple days. You could see it. Yeah, I mean, you can walk out to a guy in the parking lot going to his van and just kind of pick his brain about, hey, what do you like about here, whatever it is. And it's like, why, this is a strange place. These people want to be here, like throughout the company. I mean, you're going to have your core people, and you're going to have the, that type of thing. And, every business is going to put on a show when visitors come in, but I mean, you can't fake it after so long, like you're going to see that, some of the people are, whether it's real or not. And you could totally see it. I mean, they have a swag shop that you actually aren't buying the clothes and so forth. You get it for your birthday. Your wife gets their bucks, NER bucks they're called, and you get it for she gets present, or like money, meaning the kids get money, anniversaries, things like that the company sends it out, and you go into the swag shop and you can buy shirts, jackets, backpacks, whatever it might be. It's all branded by their company name. So, I mean, wow, that's a great idea. They got a store inside their company that has all the snacks, and they're all at cost. So it's like, instead of going to the 7-Eleven and paying whatever it costs for a Monster, $3-4, you get it for $1.25 or whatever it is. So that way they're not, because what happens when your technicians or installers, whatever, are going down to the 7-Eleven or whatever it might be, for one, they're wasting time. And second, I mean, it's they could be at the job site already, or, there could be poaching going on from other people that are watching, going like, okay, so everybody goes to this 7-Eleven, all the different companies, and they all congregate at this place, whether they're getting fuel or whatever. So you want to eliminate that and just get them from point A to point B as timely as possible. Plus the customer's waiting already anyway. So the store within, inside there, it's not really a store, but kind of like, it's all Apple, it's all integrity. You just walk by and beep what you took, and microwaves in there, you can cook your food. So the point is that they're really big about the culture. There's a book called The People Code, and you can take a test about the color code, it's a personality test, basically. And if you answer it, honestly, you get what you are, and you read the report and you're like, wow, that's like 90 to 100% correct. That's who I am. And then what they've done, what we've adopted from that company, was looking at it and going throughout our company. So now we get to know, it's how do you want to be spoken to? Some people like this whole detailed, all the information possible about something. And for me, I'm the color code would be, I'm red. And it's like, just give me the short version. What's up? Tell me what you want. I don't want to hear all the backside, the details. I don't need to know all that. So hopefully we can adopt to each other. If somebody wants to know all the details, I can be to do that. But it's also like, you have your yellow personalities that are the fun people, and it's so they got to be active. You go to a convention in Las Vegas, you got one room full of accountants, the music's, maybe classical or something like that. Then you go next door and it's a bunch of sales team, and they're swinging from the chandeliers, loud music and everything else. So it's knowing that, that's how you can get along much better in your company. So the culture there was incredible. So I came back to my office, and we have a good culture. Just yesterday we were serving ice cream and root beer floats to the people. I pass out chocolate like constantly, just doing, but you can see but there's more. We could do more. We can do better for our employees. How can we make it the best place to work, type of thing. How can we be like a Zappos or Google or something like that, where they have these, campuses almost, but yet get your work done, then they're a good platform. So anyway, I brought like 6 of our people there with me again for another visit, and they saw it and they're hitting me up going like, how do we apply? I'm like, shut up, you get back to our office, but just kidding. But I mean, then we came back and then I just started the conversations with them. Again, I get hit by private equity all the time and wasn't really interested. And then these guys they went out too. And they went to a lot of different companies, interviewed all the big players that are in our world, that are, in the private equity world, and really couldn't find that right fit, for the people and the direction that they wanted to go. So they formed their own. They got, their own private equity backing and started their own platform. So me being out there and saw them, I'm like, this is incredible. So, I mean, we just started talking, signed the NDA, and then went on to the letter of intent. We're sending people out there to train and everything else. So, I mean, is it for everybody? No. I mean, if you want to, if you want to do your own business, it's I mean, I learned this from somebody else that, if you'll always make more at your own business if you're doing your business correctly, because your business will always be worth what it's worth when you do go to sell it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest? Because I think you're right. I think a lot of people, especially when they think about private equity, they think like big cash payday and like, I can go and do whatever. What has been the thing that has surprised you the most by partnering with a PE?
Well, for me, it's back to the beginning of our conversation about the growth part. If every day, or every year, I should say, not every day, but every year, if you go from 10 million, say last year, just for a number, and I've never led a $10 million company at that point, and I did 10 million and $1 the next year, that means I've never done it to that point either. So, I mean, I just grew, but I've never led a company that big. And then you get to 50 million, 100 million, those types of things. So every year we grow, I haven't led a team that big. So now you're surrounding yourself with not just our own employees, but now a group of other companies that may be bigger or may not be, but they have inside information to say like, hey, here's how we do that. So you're getting help, throughout any time. Just pick up the phone and reach out to one of the other companies that have chose to partner with this group. So it's definitely can help us to grow. I mean, they're the one in Utah is the largest company in the group. So they've got a lot of resources and they've already been there, done that. So, we can, pick their brain on, hey, we need some help. We're struggling here. How can we grow our drain department? Whatever that is. So, but back to your point, there's different private equity companies, and it's really what's right for you. Where are you at in your stage of your life? Yeah. You want to retire, then go for the most money. Just cash out. I mean, if that's what you want to do. There's the people that may want to do that, but they really want to make sure their employees are taken care of too. So that's a whole nother piece of that puzzle, because there's so many exit strategies that you could use. In my world, I'm like, I don't want to leave. I'm too young to just cash out and go. I mean, I could cash out and retire and I could be fine the rest of my life, but what am I going to do? I mean, I can't play second fiddle at home and, here's a honey-do list every day. I would go insane. I like to work. I enjoy it. So this was different because there was so much about the people and the growth together as companies. Like if you say we sold our business, it's like you are corrected instantly. You didn't sell your business, you partnered. In the real world, yes, we sold the business, but then we invested a whole lot of money right back into it. So, I'm deeply invested in it. So the best interest of the company is to grow and get better at it as well. So it's not just, sell out and be gone, which is fine for other people. I mean, some people want to retire or some people are just sick of it, so I've got friends that have just sold and gone. So it's really up to the individual.
I heard, it sticks with me. Several years ago, somebody told me that especially when you get to the level of like PE or venture capital groups on the other side of like techie stuff, one of the biggest things that you're gaining in those partnerships is resources and capabilities. Like everything fundamentally gets broken down to resources. So like cash infusion. With this cash infusion, do you have the means to hire more techs, open a new office, like get more equipment at better rates, whatever? Like there's this ability to have resources that you otherwise wouldn't have, but also capabilities as far as like people and knowledge and expertise with people who have far greater experience in their domain than you do in yours. So you mentioned like a controller earlier. One of these particular groups, they have a controller on their team who came out of Silicon Valley. So they're used to these massively complex financial organizations. And guess what? When you're part of their little ecosystem, you have access to this person's mind and experience, all that at your fingertips. That is very, very hard to imitate and very, very appealing. So more than, I like the point you said, more than just like looking at a dollar sign, really think about what's important to you and evaluate it that way. Because those are big decisions and there's a lot of impact. But yeah, the resources and capabilities always stuck with me as something far more than just, I want a big paycheck at the end of the day. It's like, how does it help you gain the synergy that you're trying to accomplish? And I always like that. If somebody, Rusty, I'm curious because obviously you're passionate, you have a ton of experience. You seem invested in developing people and developing culture and fostering those sort of things. If somebody wanted to pick your brain, reach out to you, learn about your experience, maybe even schedule out a visit to go visit you in sunny Southern California, how might somebody reach out to you?
I mean, you can email me at rusty@wecareteam.com. You can, on LinkedIn, you can connect on me there, Rusty Cochran, either way. I mean, something like that's fine. Find me at We Care Plumbing, Heating, and Air on the internet. Either way, we're always willing to help. We have plenty of companies that have come through, our doors to just see what we do. We're not talking partnership unless they want to. I mean, I just did it. So it's not like all these years we've been, people coming in here that both the manufacturers have sent in or they just heard about us. I mean, as far as the East Coast of coming out, and some of these companies are like triple the size that we are. And I'm like, you want to come see us? Like, for what? But it's cool because we can pick their brains too, because we're going to learn from each other. So, back to the private equity part, or selling, you're right. The resources and everything else that we've gained from this, even more relationships too, like, how do we do this? But, what I'm looking for is like, it's the money will come if you just do it, do the right things and everything else. But, you've got the second bite, maybe the third bite, fourth bite, so now you're getting those paydays, because I mean, now technically I'm an employee now. I'm the president of the company still, but, so I'm not, I get a salary, but I can't just go out and, I'm going to go buy a Corvette tomorrow, on the company, it's a company car. Look at that.
Yeah.
There is limitations, but you're also, you don't have to, your paydays when you partnered, and then hopefully you get the second and third bites as long as the whole organization now is doing it all right. So I welcome it. I mean, I do. If people want to see it, it's absolutely, I get a lot of people that call me and ask me questions. And again, I can pick their brains right back. So we're helping each other. It's a give and take on both sides.
Yeah. I know you are insanely busy. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by, but I'll make sure that your LinkedIn is listed in the show notes, and also your email address, the rusty@wecareteam.com. Congrats on all the success. It's been really fun to watch your trajectory. Can't wait to see where you keep going, man. Great work.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be part of it.
This episode was hosted by Ryan Redding, author of the book on digital marketing for plumbing and HVAC contractors, and founder of Leveragey, the digital marketing solution for serious home service companies. You can subscribe to Blue Collar CEO on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Visit us online at BlueCollar.CEO and find us on Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another awesome episode. See you soon.